that they have students that consult with them na parang kailangan din nila i-counseling emotionally because yung stress talaga nang wala silang pera, and then stress na if hindi sila ready, wala silang budget to pay for the next term or even just to survive for the next day kasi wala silang mahanap na trabaho.
Kung saan karamihan ng mga estudyanteng tinanong, sinabing mahirap ang kalagayang pinansyal nila sa ngayon.
Wala na kaming pera. Desperado na kaming magkatrabaho. Ubus na yung pocket money namin. Ilan lang yan sa mga sad truths that we can possibly hear from some international students who decided to go here in Canada. They were originally looking forward to have better lives here, but they eventually got more stress and pressure. Good day, everyone. Thanks for tuning into our channel. We hope you can consider subscribing as it will help grow our channel further and reach more people who are interested in the contents that we are making. We are a family of 4, newcomers to Canada, and we make videos about international students, open work permit, and student permit for minors. We have made videos about our experiences, house, and car here in Regina. You can find the links to these in the description box below. We hope that everyone watching today is safe and healthy.
Usually, nahirapan silang maghanap ng part-time job and wala silang panggastos for the next days nila. Like, yung survival nila is talagang mahihirapan sila if they continue studying.
In today's video, gusto lang namin mag-share ng realities that we have encountered so far here in Canada, specifically related to the cost to go here, lalo na sa mga international students. This video is not to discourage you to go to Canada, but we just like to give you a picture of how it is really here and encourage you to seriously prepare for it. In this video, we will provide high-level information on the total cost to go here as international student. Then based on average, we will provide how much may be yung cost of living ninyo when you arrive here.
Hindi sila prepared emotionally, financially. Siyempre, pagka yung finance mo hindi ready, talagang mahihirap. May stress, malaking stressor kasi yun eh. Stress ang katitira, winter, di ba?
International students' tuition fee in Canada varies depending on the program and the length ng program, like kung 1 year or 2 years ba. It also depends on where you will study, but for this video, let's assume an average of $18,000 per year. Then for a family of 4, you will need to pay for your medical exams, which is required to get approved, and that is about 26,000 Philippine peso. It can go higher pag may additional tests pa na ni-request. Yung pag-lodge ng application sa IRCC, including the biometrics, will cost around 42,000 for the whole family. Passports, assuming you need to apply for passport or renew it, it's around 4,500 Philippine peso. Then kung bibili ng luggages, plus yung mga supplies that you will bring to Canada, it can go up to 50,000 Philippine peso, depende sa dami and available luggages, and mga gamit sa bahay na pwedeng dalhin nyo na lang dito. Lastly, other supporting documents for your application like yung mga bank certificates, PSA birth certificates, and others, it may cost you around 2,000 to 3,000. Based on this, ang total na need ng family of 4 sa application pa lang is almost 900,000 peso na. Then, to go to Canada, ito naman yung mga estimated expenses. Flight tickets for 4, one way. Of course, this can change based on the cost at the time of booking. Second, deposit for the apartment. This is not an advanced rent but rather a damaged deposit which will be returned to you wholly or partially at the end of the contract if wala namang damage sa house. Then, you also have to pay for the first month rent. We assumed 1,300 Canadian dollar per month, pero if you will go to Ontario or British Columbia, mahirap na makahanap ng gantong price for a family of 4. Food allowance conservatively estimated at 500 Canadian dollar for a month. It can go higher in actual. Utilities will also vary and may go up during winter, but for now, let's assume 500 for all na. Water, power, heat, mobile phone, plus home internet. Bus passes, assume that 150 for the couple since libre naman ng mga bata sa bus. If you decide to buy a car, of course, you will spend more than this for fuel, car registration, and insurance. And syempre, you will have to pay for the car. Lastly, you may be needing to buy some appliances or furnitures, and we assume 1,000 Canadian dollar for that. This can be beds, sofa, TV, kitchen appliances, among others. We did not include health insurance here as it is entirely optional, but note that it is highly recommended as the public health care have some limitations in terms of coverages. Okay, so based on this, estimated spend going to Canada plus your first month here is about 400,000 Philippine peso. When we add this dun sa expenses before going to Canada, total will be around 1.3 million pesos. Tapos for the recurring monthly expenses like rent, food, utilities, this is estimated at around 103,000 per month or about 2,500 Canadian dollar. Now, assuming that your spouse can get a minimum paying na full-time job, his take-home pay may be about $1,800 to $2,000 depende kung saang province. This is the main reason why we need na pagplanuhan ng finances. I don't want to sound pessimistic, pero sa panahon ngayon and sa actual na situation dito, hindi natin maaasahan na magkakaroon agad kayong mag-asawa ng work. To cite actual examples na na-encounter namin in just a month of being here, meron dito na dumating as permanent resident since April, and until now, August na, wala pa rin silang work. Yung isa naman, who is an international student from Toronto, and flew to Saskatchewan for easier PR pathway. She came here last January, and she was only able to get a job last June. Nung minsan, while we were doing grocery shopping, a Western young man approached the customer service and he is submitting his resume. He is open daw for a full-time job. Yan ang sad reality but true situation. Wala masyadong work sa Canada. Mahirap ding mag-expect na makukuha mo agad yung line of work mo dito. And what we have proven through so far is that importante din talaga ang network dito. Malaking bagay talaga sa successful employment ang referrals. And this is the main reason why we really need to prepare for this financially. Most of us decided to go to Canada for a better future for the kids. And I'm sure, ayaw nating pagdating dito, mas makita pa nilang nahihirapan tayo kaysa nung nasa Pilipinas pa tayo. I know money isn't everything, but specific to the choice of going to Canada, money is one of your strongest tool to survive and last long. So ano ba yung mga pwedeng gawin to be able to prepare? I will share some of my thoughts and I hope some of these are still doable for you. These advices are for those who are still outside Canada. First, magtipid ka na ng lahat ng kayang tipirin. Isipin mo na lang, bawat matitipid mo habang nasa Pilipinas ka pa are additional funds na madadala mo pagpunta mo sa Canada. Estimate your family's expenses pagpunta at pagdating dito and check kung hanggang ilang months tatagal yung funds ninyo. I personally recommend to assume that you don't have work for at least 6 months and make sure that you will bring funds enough for that. Ensure that your tuition fee is fully paid. Mahirap pag iniasa natin ang tuition fee sa magiging work natin sa Canada. Second, kung tight talaga, consider na wag muna kayong lahat ang magpunta dito. Mahirap to. Like ako personally, I am not open to this idea. But some people are, especially if it will help them achieve their long-term goals naman. Marami rin international students na gumawa nito and now, kompleto na sila dito. Maganda lang din to para masettle mo muna or kayo ng spouse mo, then tsaka susunod yung mga kids. Check also kung ano ang mga makukuha niyong funds from the government. Like Pag-ibig. Depende sa tenure mo sa kanila, you may withdraw your funds, MP1 and MP2 if you have, and it may also add up to your funds. If you are still working, don't resign too early. Kung pwede sa work mo, baka you may continue your employment remotely kahit nasa Canada ka na. Next, in terms of properties like house and lot if you have them, I wouldn't recommend selling them. I think it's still best to have something to return to in case your Canada journey will not go as planned. Instead, consider renting them out na lang para you have continuous stream of income. Lastly, pag talagang super tight ang budget, please consider na i-delay muna ang timing para mas makabuelo. I know some people are risk takers and I admire them for that. But the last thing that we want to happen is that we are adjusting in a new country, new environment, away from all our relatives and friends, and then pinoproblema pa natin kung saan tayo kukuha ng funds to survive. Delaying the timing doesn't mean failure. It can actually lead to a more successful and effective plan. Ang last and most important tip ko is to really pray hard for this. Ask the Lord that if this is His will for you, may He guide you in every step of the way and may He give you signs pag talagang need mong i-delay ang plans mo. I assure you, He will communicate with you in all possible ways and He will ensure you that you will be in the right path based on His perfect timing. Kami personally, we were originally willing to be here in 2021. But I think God gave us signals not to go muna and we are very grateful for that. We are still having some challenges now, but it could have been worse kung umalis kami noong 2021. So there, again, this video is not in any way to discourage those planning to go to Canada. Instead, I wanted to give you the reality and may you have wider perspective on how to carefully prepare for this, as I know we all want only the best for our family, especially for our kids. So that's all for today's video. I hope it gave you some insights and wishing you all the best of luck in this Canadian journey and may God bless us all.